Peter John Stoltzman here, and these are seventh chords. Artists like Stevie Wonder and Alicia Keys use seventh chords to infuse their music with sophistication and jazziness. Let's dig in. In Workbook 2, Section 8, you will learn to play progressions using sixth chords, play progressions using seventh chords, memorize the formulas for major, dominant, and minor seventh chords, and transpose seventh chords to all 12 keys using 7-3-5 voicings in your right hand and roots in your left hand. In this section, we're going to dive into sixth and seventh chords, starting with sixth chords, which you really don't hear that much of anymore. They're kind of a dated sound. They were used a lot in show tunes in the first half of the 20th century. And, you still hear them once in a while, though. And they offer a cool sound, just a little something extra. In particular, you'll hear the sixth chord used in on the 4. So if you're in C, you'll often hear the 4 chord with the 6, or a minor 4 with the 6, resolving back to 1. Let's go through a couple of examples here, and you'll see a few ways in which it is used. So we're on page 44, and we're going to do our sixth chord jam in C major. We got a C to a C6 and back, and at the end we've got an F6. Here we go. C, G, A minor, and then F minor 6. And you can hear in this the major triad versus the 6 sound, right? And then the minor down here, the 6 and the 5. And the difference, it's not a huge difference, it's just a little extra something. So let's try the next jam. And this one is in the key of C minor. We're starting on an A flat major 6 chord up here. 1, 2, 3, here we go. Here's your G augmented, C minor, over B flat, A flat 6, there's your G augmented. Alright, now that's a good example of how you can create a sixth chord just using a triad and then adding the sixth. Let's go down to a C, and you can just practice playing a C major, add the 6, and you can either play your sixth chord with the whole triad, 1, 3, 5, and the 6, or you can play it 1, 3, and put the 6 on top and skip the 5. You can do that with majors or minors. Either way, it's cool. It's a sixth chord. That 6 is always a whole step above the 5. Major and minor is a whole step above the 5. So just remember that, and you can create a sixth chord whenever you want. All right, moving on to seventh chords. Now, just follow me through here, okay? Hands on the piano. We're going to play a C major triad, and 1, 3, 5 are your chord tones. In order to get a 7, you can add it up on top if you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But this sound right here of a root position seventh chord is just pedestrian. And to be honest, you just don't hear it very much. You don't hear professional pianists play a root position seventh chord. There's something about these thirds stacked against each other that kind of closes off the resonance. And the better voicing is a 7-3-5 voicing. So I want to walk you through that. It sounds like that. Let's go to the key of D flat and walk it through. Just have a little more interest, all right? So D flat major triad, D flat, F, A flat. What's your major scale? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So your 7 is C. Another way, shortcut, to think about where the 7 is that it's a half step below the root. The major 7 is a half step below the root. Stick that in your brain for safekeeping. Major 7 is a half step below the root, and therefore you can just move your thumb down a half step, and boom, there's your 7th chord, your major 7th chord. 7, 3, 5. So number those notes 7, 3, 5 as opposed to 1, 3, 5. 7, 3, 5. And really notice what chord this is. This is a D flat major 7. D flat major 7. All right, for your chord symbol that would be MAJ. D flat MAJ 7. Now, you want to take this through 12 keys and be able to do it in any key. So let's go to F. Where's an F major 7 in your 7, 3, 5 voicing? See it. Take a look. See your triad. See your thumb going down. And then count it. 2, 3, 4. Boom. You want to be able to do this in any key with as little hesitation as possible. So this is going to take practice. So get to it. Moving on, let's play some jams with 7th chords, with major 7th chords. Page 47 here, we're going to start with the whole step apart. This is using a C major 7 and a B flat major 7. We got a little badoom in the left hand too. Check it out. Badoom. Badoom. Fun band. All right, so that's a fun jam, and let's do another one, a 4th apart. Major 7's a 4th apart. We're going to start on D major 7, and we're using a broken chord technique this time. 2, 3, here we go. And you may be saying, what's up with that G major voicing? It's inverted. Let's talk about that. All right, so D major 7, 7, 3, 5. But this one is 5, 7, 3. And this is exactly the same thing that you do with triads to create better voice leading using inversions. We're just taking the 7, 3, and 5 of G, and we're inverting it to 5, 7, 3 in order to have this nice voice leading like this. All right, let's move on to the last one, which is the flat 3, flat 2, flat 3, flat 2, 1 major 7 jam. So we're in the key of F. We're going to start on A flat. We got a little 1, 5, 8 pattern in the left. Here we go. And then G flat and F. A flat again. This is testing your 1, 5, 8s in your left hand. All right, you got the idea with that. You can play along with these tracks all that you desire. Let's move on and check out the formulas for 7th chords. Our 3 major food groups of 7th chords are major, dominant, and minor. So let's go to C. And major 7 is 7, 3 from the major scale. That means it's a major 7, major 3. All right? And that's your formula. All right? The major 3, the major 7. Now, if you want a dominant 7, you need to flat the 7. So that's flat 7 right there, major 3. Flat 7, major 3, that's your formula for dominant 7. So install this in your brain, find a place for it, and install it there. 7 and 3, flat 7 and 3 is your dominant. And then flat 7 with the flat 3 is your minor 7. This way, from any major triad or minor triad, you can easily find the 7th chord that you want. So if you go to F and you want to play a dominant 7, go to a flat 7. So that's going to be down a half step, down another half step. If you go to G and you want to play a minor 7, you got to get the flat 7 and the flat 3. All right, I want you to go through all 12 keys and apply these formulas, go through the major 7, the dominant 7, and the minor 7 in all keys. Just to show you an example, let's go to B flat. Here's a major triad. Go to major 7, dominant 7, minor 7. All right, think it through, go through this formula in all 12 keys. Now, let's do some even further variations on these 7th chords in the 735 voicing, or like I like to call it, 735 area code. All right, so we're going to do it in C. We got our major 7, we got our dominant 7, we got our minor 7, and diminished has a flat 5, flat 3, and double flatted 7. Double flatted 7 is your diminished 7. Now we'll go into minor variations. We're going to have the flat 7, flat 3, flat 5. That gives you a minor 7, flat 5. And you may be saying, that's a weird sound. I don't know that I would ever use that. Well, you will if you're doing a nice progression like this. All right, but it definitely has to be used in context. Here's a C minor 6. This is a cool chord. So it's a C minor triad, but with the 6 down here instead of the 7. Ooh, it's got a really cool sound. And then there's the C minor with a major 7. C minor with a major 7. It's kind of an old school sound. It's kind of a film noir vibe on this one. All right, let's go on to dominant 7th variations. Here's your C7, and let's get the flat 5 in there. C7 with the flat 5. This is another one you might be saying, I'm not sure I'm ever going to use that. Well, it's been made famous from jazz songs like Take the A Train by Duke Ellington. Right there, that's a dominant 7 with the flat 5. Also, at the endings of songs, it can be really cool. Like, let's see, like that, or gives you a little extra tension before a resolution. Dominant 7, flat 5. Here's a dominant 7, sharp 5, and this is very similar in terms of the way you would use it to just an augmented triad. You know, we're talking about augmented triads being a 5-to-1. Same thing with a dominant 7 with the augmented 5. If you take that 5 up even another half step, you get to the 6, which is known as the 13 in jazz. This is a C7 add 13, and this is a very jazzy chord. Pretty hip, jazzy sound. Then you can play this one, B flat over C, and this is really a C7 with a sus4. This is just a cool voicing for C7 sus4. And if you put that F on G, you get a more open sound. Again, there's no 3, and this is kind of a C9 funk voicing. So you're playing some funky jam music, this is a really great one to have. You get the idea. Let's move on to the major variations. We're going to do the same variations basically that we just did on dominant. We're going to do a flat 5, and this one also very jazzy sound. You might use this at the end of a jazz song, or to give that extra tension and release. The same way you would use a dominant 7 flat 5 to give that extra tension and release. Now, the major 7 with a sharp 5. Woo! That is an eyebrow raiser right there. And it's not very common, but you will find instances of this used in Brazilian jazz a lot. It's just become a thing, and it's a beautiful way that they will delay the release of the resolution. So they might do a 2, 5, woo, and then go to the sharp 5, and take it on from there. So that sharp 5 can add a very emotional flavor if you use it correctly, but it's it's an unorthodox chord, that's for sure. Here's your super jazzy 13, major 7, 3, 13, super jazzy. Here's your G over C, which is like C major 9, kind of a pop voicing. You hear this back in the 80s a lot. All right, and your C6-9 is very similar, 6, 9, and 5. And you notice I'm using terms like 9 and 13. Don't sweat it if you're like, why, what is all that? It's jazzy stuff. We'll get there. Not so much in this book. We'll get there in Workbook 3. But this is another really nice jazzy variation. So what I want you to do is choose at least one of these variations and transpose it to 12 keys, and just get that in your fingers as you're getting those major food groups, the major 7, dominant 7, minor 7. Also add some variation so you get another twist. Another twist of lemon or something in there. I hope you're learning something. I hope you're having fun doing it, and I'll see you next time. Peter John Stoltzman here, bringing you inspired, joyful piano music. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment and let me know what videos you would like to see. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notifications bell. And stay connected with me by going to my website and signing up for my email list. Listen to my music on Bandcamp and follow me on Facebook and Instagram.